I'm Catherine Murray. Welcome to Market Call tonight. Our guest tonight is Jamie Carrasco. He's a portfolio manager at Canaccord Genuity. Take your calls, emails, and tweets on North American equities. You can call us toll free at 1-855-326-6266. You can also send us an email to marketcall@bnnbloomberg.ca, or you can tweet us at marketcall. Jamie, a lot going on in the markets for sure, and a great performance on a year-to-date basis with double-digit returns across the board for North America. What are your views today, and where do you think we go from here?
Well, I think that three things, I tend to think out of the box, three things that I'm looking at. One is the markets are going to, in my opinion, continue moving because I think Trump is politicizing the Fed. I think going forward, he will continue to exert much more political pressure over the Fed and get them to print money. I think his opinion is going to be, well, if it was good for the gander ways and good for the goose ways and good for the gander. So he needs to fund a lot of projects infrastructure-wise. So I think that'll be good for the markets, at least until the election, to get him elected. Another issue that I think that is interrelated to that is the dislocation we're starting to see between global central banks. The IMF has warned that the Americans are not going to be willing to bail out the European banks, and that's going to be an issue. I think Trump won't. I think this time around won't be like 2008. And that's important because we're reaching debt saturation. A big piece of this puzzle, I think, as well, is what's happening in the gold sector. Again, gold has money. No central bank is selling. They're all buying. They bought more gold last year than they have since Nixon unpegged. And an important shift has occurred that as of April, gold has gone back to being a Tier 1 asset, which hasn't been since the 70s. I think that's an important factor.
Where do you see that that type of data and analysis? Because if anything, we've seen the price of gold not move at all. So I don't know who,
exactly.
No, but I don't know who the buyer is really. If you say that all the central bankers are out there buying, I'm not.
Well,
we're not seeing that kind of demand reflected in the price.
Well, we're not seeing the demand reflected in the price because what's happening with the paper market. But we know that there's been a whole flow of gold that's been leaving for Asia, for Russia. Russia's up to 2,200 banks. Look at the fight that's going on between the 2,400 tons that are owned by Italy, Salvini, and Draghi with the Central European Central Bank, where they're saying, well, the gold is owned by the people, and Draghi's saying, no, we control the gold. So it is becoming an issue, right? All the data, if you actually look at the World Gold Council, you look at Incrementum and Gold We Trust, which is, I think, those are the two best reports, clearly show the flow of gold over the physical flow of gold, right? Again, when it comes to the price, I always go back to the warnings of Terry Duffy, which he gave about 2 years ago, where he said, and I quote, if you look at what's going on around the world. Now, when the chairman of the COMEX says going on around the world, he means systemic risk. Gold should be somewhere near $5,000 to $6,000. That's what he said 2 years ago. And people are dismissing that fact, and they shouldn't dismiss it forever because one day we're going to see a huge spike in price. That's his quote. Now, if you look at the physical flow, it continues to go. So they keep telling us it's a barbarous relic, but nobody's buying. Nobody's selling. There is a game afoot because gold has money. So what is important about the Tier 1 structure? So in 2008, gold wasn't a Tier 1 asset, meaning that if a bank held gold within its reserves, they could borrow against it. Now, that's a very important shift because we know for a fact that China has transferred more than 18,000 tons since 2008 over to its banking sector. So if we get into trouble again, they'll easily be able to say, okay, well, we have 18,000 tons. How much do we need to raise the price to deal with this credit crisis that they have? Which is exactly what Roosevelt does in 1933. So anybody that's saying the 30s are repeating, that's what they're talking about. We have a populist wave within politics. We have a complete shift within the currency reserve. And I think that for Trump to really achieve MAGA, Make America Great Again, he's got to kill the value of the dollar because it's no point bringing 5,000 jobs from Ford if you're still competing with Chinese labor. You have to bring the value of the dollar, and that can be achieved through a restructuring of the monetary system around gold, which is kind of like what James...
Who's going to do that?
Well, I think it's got to be a united effort, or it's going to be done.
But what country is going to want to restructure
China and the U.S.
monetary system around gold?
Good question. So China and the U.S. have been working on this trade deal forever, but a couple of months ago, one of the governors of the central bank, and Mnuchin, just over about 2 weeks ago, said that this is also a currency agreement. So it could be easily done between China and the U.S., right?
But that's currency not gold. We're not shifting from fiat currencies to gold.
No, but
that's what you're suggesting.
But hold on. If we are going to rebalance the basket of currencies, you need something to peg it with. And historically, for 4,000 years, gold has been the peg, right? Because you need a constant. You need a monetary constant of value.
So you think that in some type of trade agreement, we will have China and the United States agreeing to peg their respective currencies to gold?
I think it's highly probable that some kind of a currency restructuring needs to be done, similar to the, not the Paris Accord, sorry, but the other city accord that was done in the 80s. And this type of accord has been done in the past. Nixon does it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think something...
The Plaza Accord.
The Plaza Accord, sorry, that's what it was. I think something...
That was still fiat currency. The only reason why I'm bringing it up, and I know we have to go to break, is because I don't know that a fiat currency agreement would translate into a peg towards gold and therefore lift the price of gold. But I'm trying to connect those
Right,
dots.
the problem is in a world of full fiat currency as we have, where it's no longer working, how do you rebuild it without having a monetary peg? You need a constant within that.
What's
and for 4,000 years, it has been gold.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Jamie Cresco. He's portfolio manager from Canaccord Genuity, answering your questions about North American equities. You can call us toll free at 1-855-326-6266. Time now for past picks, and the first one up is Franco-Nevada. Let's take a look at this company, talk a little bit about what it is and why you like it.
Franco-Nevada has consistently been one of my stalwart of every portfolio. I think this is a company that's suitable for, you know, my parents, for example. It pays a good dividend, a dividend that will grow over time. And if you can bring up the long-term chart, it's actually had a solid performance over the last couple of years, and it's allowed me to take profits and build into the other holdings that I have within the portfolio. It's one that I don't lose any sleep. Pierre Lassonde started it, one of Canada's premier mine builders, and it's been stellar over time. So it's one that I continue to add. It's not a mining company, it's a finance company. So it's a royalty. It's the first royalty streamer to ever come around. And it's not just precious metals, it's also copper, oil. So it is diversified. It's actually pretty solid for anybody.
I actually thought that the yield was going to be larger than it is.
No, it isn't, because it has a formula that the yield will increase as the commodity prices increase. So the yield right now is about 1.3. What's interesting, it has a yield. Not many companies in this sector have. Agnico has it, Kirkland Lake has started, but most of them don't. So
does that mean a couple of years ago it was much higher than what
it
is
was
now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a formula based on the price of...
On the price of the commodity and the revenue that it's taking from its royalties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next... so you own it, you continue to own it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next past pick. First, Majestic Silver. Ticker there is FR, up 3%. What kind of company is this? What does it represent?
This is one of the premier silver producers in Mexico, low cost of production, which big reserves on the ground, right? It's well run, great management, fits all of my criteria, and it's one that on a longer term basis should do quite well, because right now it's trading at a ridiculous value.
What's the value of it, or how do you value a company like this?
Well, if you look at the breakup of the parts, if you look at a cash value at everything, it should be trading at much higher, but again, this sector's not attracting any interest from any institutions. Pension funds don't own it. Very few mutual funds own this sector. So at some point, we should see money flowing back in here when the light comes on, just like it did from 2008 all the way to 2011 when the light went off. And we've been waiting, right? If you look at the price of gold, I feel that at some point, we've been going sideways here. We've been staying at 1,300 for way too long, and the demand is there. So at some point, it's gonna correct on the upside.
Okay, let's take a look at the next past pick. Hive Blockchain, ticker there is HIVE. What do we think of this company? What does it do?
This is actually the world's biggest public Ethereum miner. So it is a crypto miner.
Okay.
All three of these companies are either in the other two are part of the equity income portfolio, where it's only 4 companies, silver, gold. This one is in my special opportunities portfolio, and it sat when we bought it at a 3% hold. We watched it go down. It started trading. It was up to 250, and it got down to 40 cents. In December, when we started rolling, making changes in the portfolio, we started adding, and now we increased the position to about 5% of the portfolio. One of the things I do within the portfolio is, for example, Kirkland Lake has been doing very well. We take profits, and we always rebalance. Rebalancing the portfolio is key because it forces us to buy things that are out of favor or are doing well, and sell the ones that are going up. So that rebalancing position continues to work. I think Hive is, it's the chairman and the CEO is Frank Holmes from U.S. Global Partners. It was set up by Fiera Group. Canadian billionaire of Vancouver. His name doesn't come to me.
Okay.
But it's very well managed. I think that, again, back to your question of do I like the blockchain cryptos? I do, and this is how I'm participating on it. They're mining Ethereum. What is interesting about Ethereum, it's not Bitcoin. Ethereum is the coin that's it's implementing this accounting ledgers that Fidelity is using, that a lot of other companies are using. So I think over time, the technology will come in, and it is coming in, and it is being used, and I think we should get a nice rebound. Another thing that's interesting, the blockchain itself has been on a bit of a rebound. It's trading at about 175 billion now, and it seems to have hit bottom back in December at about 120 billion. So there is money rolling back in.
Okay, we're going to be back after the short break. Our number is 1-855-326-6266. It is time now for top picks, and the first one up, Jamie, is which one?
America's silver.
All right, it is time now for top picks, and the first one up, Jamie, is which one?
America's silver. USA is a symbol. This company continues to. I think this company is ridiculously priced. They just finished a merger with buying Pershing Gold. Out of that merger, the two biggest shareholders now is Sandstorm, who's going to come in on the financing side, and Pierre Lassonde is the second biggest shareholder. What I like about this is the management team out of Barrick that left, and there's more than 7 guys from Barrick here, and they're recreating their own company. They've been growing through acquisition. They will continue growing through acquisition. The footprint of the company right now, when you were asking me about breakup value, it should be trading, if you look at it on projected earnings, projecting resource, projecting production, should be trading more like Wesdome or McEwen Mining, which is in the 400, 500 million market cap, and they're trading at about 120. So it offers a really good entry point, very well managed, very low cost of production. It's also gold, silver, and base metals as well now. It's not just silver. So, okay. Yeah, it's one that I've held for a long time.
Okay, let's take a look at the next top pick, Enbridge.
Enbridge, great yield, again, part of the pipelines for the dividend payers. I think this is a really good addition in terms of income. Right, so this is more for the my equity income portfolio, and for anybody looking for dividend income. I think Enbridge and all of the pipelines represent good value.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. Jamie, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you to our viewers as well. And as always, please do consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decision. Thanks again for joining us, and we certainly hope to have you with us tomorrow on BNN Bloomberg. We'll see you then.
Thank you.